Zombies have achieved mythical status amongst us mortals. They are rooted in Haitian lore, with one of the first books about them being published in 1927. The Magic Islands by William Seabrook detailed his observations of voodoo zombies, who are people who lost their souls or corpses brought back to life to perform labor. This inspired the first zombie film in 1932 called White Zombie, starring Bela Lugosi, who is known for his Dracula. However, some fans might be most familiar with 1968's Night of the Living Dead by George Romero. Since then, lots of media relating to and building upon the legend of the zombie has been released, including this game. In Warhammer, zombies are corpses reanimated with dark magic in order to serve as a meat shield or a tar pit. They are typically used to bog down or get in the way of the enemy, allowing your stronger units to move about the battlefield. This video will go over the basics of zombies and the various ways you can improve them in this campaign. Their primary stats are health and unit size, and being undead, these allow them to stay in the fight for a long time. Add that to the ability to heal, and this unit can prove its worth in many situations. Keep in mind they're weak to area damage such as spells and explosives. Units with area attacks are also effective against them, like mammoths. There are many ways to improve them, including items, lord, skills, faction effects, and technology. We'll go over some items first. I've loaded up one of my long-term campaigns that has a lot of items on here, and we'll show you some of the items that are good for zombies. The first one being the Brass Cleaver. This allows your lord to give them an extra 8 melee attack in an area around them. If you're using blobs, this allows you to buff all of your units. Then there's the Staff of Damnation. This allows you to use 3 times in a battle a plus 40 melee attack for 25 seconds. You can use this to help burst damage down. Like say a lord flies into your blob, you use this and have them all beat him up. The Helm of Discord is also really good because this can debuff units in an area, and if you're using a blob, you'll debuff the whole enemy army, and this allows the zombies to close the gap in stats with enemy units. Heinrich Himmler also starts with an ancillary banner called the Ravenous Dead. This gives the Ravenous Dead ability to all zombies in his army. This gives them 0.4% health per second while they're in melee, which is half as strong as an Invocation of the Heck. This means that while they're fighting, they're basically getting half of a healing spell every second. And since zombies have such high health, they're going to recover a lot of hit points per second compared to other units. The next thing we'll look at is Lord Skills and Faction Effects. And to showcase this, we're going to look at Helman Gorst, who is arguably the best for improving zombies. So his faction effect, he has 10% casualty replenishment. You're going to take a lot of casualties using zombies, and this allows you to get back into the fight quicker. He also gives them poison attacks, which doesn't sound that impressive, but poison does 20% reduction in stats, so the more powerful of a unit you go up against, the more effective the poison will be, and this just helps bridge the gap between the zombies' low stats and other enemies' higher stats. His Lord effect, this also counts if you confederate him as another faction. He has immune to contact effects, and this is great for zombies because if they can't be poisoned, you can't reduce their stats. And there are other things like Daze, which reduces melee defense, and since zombies only have 6 melee defense, you don't want them to lose any. He also gives plus 30 armor for zombies and crypt ghouls, but zombies don't have any armor, so having a little bit of armor just helps just a little bit. Now we'll get into the campaign and show Lord skills. Necromancer Lords like Helman Gorst have a variety of skills that can boost units. First we'll look at a Necromancer Lord, which we can recruit right here. Discipline is a great stat, or a skill. It adds leadership and melee attack, which zombies are severely lacking in, so if you get one of those guys, recruit them. So we'll go to skills, and you can search skills with this bar down on the bottom left. You type the name of the unit that you want to check, and he'll highlight all of the skills that affect that unit. So every lord, including the legendary lords, have the same red line, the same blue line as the regular lords, so we'll look at those first. Unliving Host can get you up to 8 melee attack and 8 melee defense for zombies, which is more than double of what they normally have. And then there's Legions of the Dead, which when they are at rank 7 or above, they'll get an extra 5 attack, 12% weapon strength, and 15% spell resistance, which is great, because spells are very damaging to zombies, and extra attack is always good. Now we have Lord of the Scourge, which Helman Gorst and Heinrich Himmler also have, I'm pretty sure. So this adds battle healing cap, which means you can heal the zombies for more health than normal. I think the cap is normally 60% of their max health. Extra casualty replenishment, which is always good. And then upkeep reduction for zombies. So zombies have a very low upkeep cost. It only costs 20 to upkeep them. And they cost 93 dark magic. Now, Raise the Dead, you can reduce the cost of Raise the Dead, and you can also increase the number of units that will build up by using technology and by increasing vampiric corruption. Once it gets to 100%, it's at 75 right now, you'll have way more units to choose from. So if we compare this to a skeleton, you can recruit about 4 zombies for every 1 skeleton, which is great because you can overwhelm an enemy's defenses. Like, 1 army of zombies could easily take small settlements. I can't see any here. Oh, like this. These small settlements have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A stack of 20 zombies might not win an auto-resolve, but when you manually resolve the battle, you'll win those fights very easily. So let's get back to skills. Now, Thrall Master doesn't affect zombies specifically, but you get the dead rise again. If a unit is wiped out in a battle, there's a chance for them to come back from the dead, and then you can replenish them with the 3 choices at the end of the battle. This also reduces recruitment cost and Raise the Dead cost, making zombies extremely cheap. Then this skill here, Master of the Dead. This affects all undead in an effect range. What this is when a lord, like a necromancer lord, is near units that die, this charges up to 0.05% healing per second in a... It says range 35, effect range 47, so this can be increased by upgrading it. And then it also gives you more Raise the Dead. I'll talk a little bit about summon zombies later, but you can get many of these summons in a battle. And if he's on a flying mount, he'll be able to fly over someone and drop a zombie unit right on top of them, or use them for cover, which I'll show a little bit later. But let's look at Helmengorst. He has way more abilities to buff zombies. So he has the same redline skills. He has Lord of the Scourge, he has Thrall Master, but he has unique skills that can buff zombies further. So Unholy Fury gives 12 attack for zombies, all your armies faction-wide, which is why it's great. If you can confederate him in another faction, you can get access to these bonuses. But if you want to try them out right away, then you should play as Helmengorst. Then Unnatural Toughness. This gives 10% ward save for zombie units. This is amazing because this blocks physical damage, magical damage, spell damage. I'm not sure if it's been patched out or not, but it also affects disintegration damage. Because since zombies are undead, they don't run away from battle. They disintegrate, they crumble. So I'm pretty sure the ward save actually helps defend against that damage. But it might have been patched. Uncanny Resilience gives battle healing cap plus 500% for zombie units faction-wide. This is insane. This means you can heal your zombies for more than 5 times their maximum health. So if you have a lot of magic, which if you're playing the vampire counts, you should always go for high magic, this means you can heal your zombies a ton. And then Ever Onward. It buffs Dance Macabre. I don't really, depend on Dance Macabre. I dance for healing items. I rely on healing spells and damage spells, especially Wind of Death. But this gives the Ravenous Dead, like what Heinrich Himmler has. So if you want to try this ability out and see how it works, load up Heinrich Himmler and play with him. But Helmengorst can give this to every army in the faction, so he's a way better choice for buffing the zombies. And then Weapon Strength plus 50% for zombies all faction-wide. They only have 18 damage, but an extra 50% would put them in line with, say, a Spearman unit. And if you... Let me see how much health they have per unit. If you divide their total health by the unit numbers, you can get the individual health of each unit. So, bear with me a moment. 12, 320 divided by 160. So they have 77 hit points each. Now, even for like an elite infantry unit, like a greatsword, it's going to take, 3, maybe 4 hits to kill a zombie. And in the meantime, those zombies are doing damage to them. But you don't want to rely on the zombies to do damage. You want to rely on spells, like Wind of Death. Now, Wind of Death is way cheaper, especially when you upgrade it. It takes about 2 Winds of Death to kill an infantry unit, but one will severely weaken them and give the zombies a chance to overwhelm them. Another thing is necromancers can get corpse carts. We'll look at the corpse cart unit. So first off, Helmengorst has the Unholy Lodestone, the Reliquary Corruption, and Vigor Mortis. So he's like an Unholy Lodestone corpse cart with a Mortis engine ability. But we'll look at the units instead. So a regular corpse cart, all corpse carts have this ability, but Vigor Mortis gives 5 defense and 5 attack in an area, plus Vigor per second, so that regenerates their Vigor. If you use it in a blob, you'll hit everyone. Balefire carts have Balefire, which adds flaming and magical attacks, plus flame resistance. So against units with fiery attacks, like dragons, they'll do less damage. And units that have fire weakness, like Treekin or regenerating units, and units with physical resistance won't be able to defend against the zombie attacks. Then we have the Unholy Lodestone. So like Gorst, the Unholy Lodestone has a 0.05% heal per second plus 4 leadership. This will stack with Master of the Dead and any other healing abilities. So if you have these units in your army, you can heal the zombies passively very quickly. Now, having 2 of these won't make a difference. Like, he has the Unholy Lodestone, and then he has an Unholy Lodestone here. You only need multiples if you're going to spread your units out, but I highly recommend you fight in the blob formation because you can defend your units better. I'll show that a little bit later. But basically, when you stack your units on top of each other, the units overlap. So one unit isn't taking all the damage. One unit will take some damage, and another unit will take some damage. And then another unit that's really good to add with zombies is the Mortis engine. This has the Reliquary Binding, which is 0.05% health per second, plus magical attack. So if you have this plus a corpse card, you have 0.1% healing, passive. You have magical attacks. And then the Mortis engine has the Reliquary Corruption. So is that the same as Helmengorst? Let's take a look. This is the Reliquary Corruption. Is his something different, or is it the same? The Reliquary Corruption. Yeah, so you'd only want the Mortis engine if you wanted the healing. So that's it for Lord skills and units. But let's take a look at technology. You can do the same thing. You can use the search bar at the corner to look up what will boost zombies, so it highlights all these. Book of Archon, upkeep reduction plus leadership for zombies is good because the more money you have, the more armies you can raise. And zombies have low leadership, so you want to buff them as much as possible, especially by having heroes and lords around them. That'll help boost their leadership. Melee defense is really good because it helps them avoid damage. The Dead Rise Again, this is great because if you stack those bonuses, then you can lose a whole army of zombies and have, you know, maybe half of them, maybe all of them will come back. The speed for zombies is not that big of a deal. I recommend that you walk zombies as much as possible because you don't want them to lose their vigor before they get into battle. Because now, it'll show it in the battles now, but when your vigor is low, your stats will be decreased. They'll lose armor, they'll lose attack, they'll lose defense, they'll lose speed. So that'll make them really weak. That's why having like a corpse cart in the army will help boost them up. Battle healing cap for zombies. Again, 100%, that means you can heal for more than double their total health points. This is really good if you have lots of magic because there's no limit to how many times you can cast the healing spell. It's just your magic that will limit that. Recruitment and raise the dead cost for zombies, minus 50%. That's really good because zombies are already super cheap, so you can put together an army of them really quickly. Physical resistance is probably the best one for zombies because they don't have any armor, so having physical resistance will allow them to resist 20% physical damage, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a fifth. When you put it in a fraction, it sounds pretty massive. And this will stack with Helmengorst's ward save, so that would give them 30% resistance to attacks unless they're magical. Magical attacks will go through physical resistance. Fire attacks will not, because fire attacks are physical, unless they have the magical attack trait too. Raise the Deadpool capacity plus 8 for own provinces. This is how you put together armies really quickly. You'll kind of go fight a few battles, and then maybe you might lose a battle and you have to rebuild an army. This means you can recruit a whole ton of zombies super quickly. And if we look at this area here, you know, this will go up. These will go up too because corruption's going to go up. And when you fight battles, you can leave a battle marker, it has the same icon as the Raise the Dead. This icon will be on the map, and as long as you're in the same province as that, you'll be able to increase the number of Raise the Dead pool that you have. And then Vanguard deployment. That doesn't sound like that big of a deal until you realize that zombies are very slow. So the closer you are to your opponent, the more quickly you'll be able to get into battle and beat them up. And one thing that you take into account is if the enemy has a chance to move, they might move out of their formation. The AI loves to use wide line formations. They only double up their lines if they have stuff like missile units or monsters. So you want to trap them in a line and then hit them with Wind of Death. And I'll show that later. And then extra melee attack. So +4. Doesn't sound that big of a deal, but when you add it all up and you add the bonuses from the Lord, and if you're playing Helmengorst, you add the Unholy Fury, you're going to be able to boost the zombies quite a bit. So like this is 8 plus 12, that's 20. Plus 5 is 25. Plus 4 is 24. So that's 24. They're going to have 29 melee attack, which when you start with 5, you know that's a huge bonus, and that's going to put them more in line with other low tier units. It's going to help them fight a lot. And then once they're a rank 9 unit, they get +3 attack and +3 defense, so that'll put them to 32 attack. Plus they get 10 leadership, which puts them at 45 leadership. Now this seems pretty low, but it's hard to get rid of their leadership, especially if you're playing as Gorse, because he's immune to contact effects. Because stuff like being burnt will reduce your leadership. Stuff like, I'm trying to think of what it's called. Discouraged is another contact effect that also reduces leadership. You want to keep this up as high as possible because does he have Encourage? Yeah, he has Encourage, so he's going to buff the leadership of any units that he's nearby. That's why the blob is really good. If you're fighting against units that don't have explosive attacks, artillery, or spells, then the blob is the way to go. And I'll show that in a little bit. So I'm going to pause the recording and I'm going to fire up a battle. So I'm going to go up against the Empire. The Empire is typically one of your main opponents. Helmengorst is going to be in a different location in the world, so he'll be fighting other factions, which we won't really worry about in this video. But I'm going up against an army of spearmen, and I'll show you how the different formations can help your spells work really well. So I'm going to start with a line formation. This is the default formation that the AI will use, so we'll try out this default formation. I'm going to pause the video and get into the battle. This is what I'm talking about, why the Vanguard deployment is good, because you can see the AI is redeploying their formation, and now they're not in a tasty line. But we're going to attack them anyway and see how we do. Putting it in an automatic attack. So stuff like this, really damaging. This is his ability. So you see those zombies were overwhelmed. They had the leadership penalty from not being close to him. But let's fire off a spell. You always want to overcast Wind of Death because see how much damage it does. Yeah, it doesn't kill them, but it does a ton of damage, and now the zombies have a really easy chance of finishing them off.
Only an unlife will they see.
And I'll be surprised if we win this battle, but Wind of Death really makes a big difference. We're taking a lot of damage. Like these ones that are outnumbered, they're gonna lose. Like this one here. He's at critical, yeah, damage sustained from the area effect spell. Faster and stronger enemies nearby, losing currently. This all tanks their leadership. So you see, if we had Vanguard deployment, we might be able to get behind them or something like that. The thing about flanking is once you attack the unit from behind, those guys are going to turn around and then they won't be flanked anymore. That's why the blob is really good. So they're all running away from taking damage. Let's hit them with another Wind of Death.
Hellish vigor!
Yeah, very good. Look at all that damage. Absolutely insane.
Slay them! Master Necromancer.
So you see, this guy's by himself. He's fighting all of these units by himself. So this is a good time to use Raise the Dead. Some of them on top of yourself. Now those units are going to tank hits for him and help him fight in the battle.
Leech them of life!
And then after this fight, I'll show how a Flying Lord can make use of summoning zombies. They only last for about 90 seconds, and then they disintegrate. Yeah, 99 seconds. So we've taken out about half of their army.
Death is assured.
I'm going to save it for another Wind of Death. Because even if we take out our own units, it's no big deal. You kind of want to use them as a disposable. Because that's their purpose. So this spearman's not having a good time. He's surrounded. Attacked in the rear. So yeah, it does still count as being attacked in the rear. I thought that they would lose that penalty. Yeah, let's fast forward so that this video doesn't take too long. He's blowing us up with a grenade launcher. I thought he would be an easy opponent, but he's actually doing really well against us. I think we might lose, but you kind of get an idea of how effective the zombies are. So we're gonna lose. But we'll see how much damage we did. With his spells, we killed about half of their army. This guy did really well. Holy cow. I wasn't expecting that, but no big deal. So let's change him to another Lord type. Oh, the Huntsman General. Yeah, I should have used him instead. The Engineer Lord has a really good advantage against them. I'm going to put this guy on a flying mount. And then we're going to fight that battle again. Okay, so this time we're going to put them in a block formation, a blob. Put them right on top. Okay, so we're in the blob. I just stacked them all on top of each other. If your computer is not that good, you might not be able to do this, because when they're all overlapped like that, they are constantly checking their collision. But you'll see how effective it can be. I'll fast forward to the battle. See, they're actually a little bit slower because you can see how they're kind of glitching a bit. What happens when the frame rate gets too low, the animations get cut up, so it's not a full animation anymore. Right now we could hit them with Winds of Death, but we'd only hit a few of their units. Once they are engaged, they're going to all dive in on the enemy. So let's just throw them all into there. So I'll show you what I can do with the summoned zombies. This guy is shooting us. That's no good. We want to take care of him. We want to get rid of his ability to fire. So we're going to summon zombies on him.
Fresh troops.
And then we're going to attack. I'm going to heal him. But he can't shoot while he's in melee. So now look at this. We're gonna get a really big wind of death here.
You serve me.
Look at that. Absolutely shreds them. We only need one more and we kill all those units. They're gonna run away. Okay, gonna get him out of here. He's getting his butt kicked.
At once. I move swiftly.
Fast forward. I'm gonna land him. We need to wait for our magic to replenish. And you see, we're not taking that much damage because we're blobbed up. They're not able to pin us down or outnumber us. We want to wait for the dual casted one. Let's see. It says 20, so let's wait till we have 20.
Swiftly. At once.
Oh, I better not get him killed.
I move swiftly.
One more magic.
Swiftly. At once. I move swiftly.
Okay,
Sigma demand.
we're gonna kill some of our own units. That's fine.
Hellish vigor. Bring the
He's gonna
gift
die,
of
and then we're
death.
gonna lose. But that's fine. You can kind of get the idea. He died. But it's taking them a lot longer to defeat us.
Behold the silver hammer.
Yeah, even though we're losing leadership, they're not taking much damage. They're rallying, yeah. And this is more or less, you know, the way the campaign's going to go. Look, they're doing way better than they were in the line formation. Okay, I'm going to pause it and then we'll see how many kills we get at the end of the battle. So you can see if we hadn't lost our lord, we'd be able to keep casting spells and killing them. That's why Wind of Death is really good with zombie blobs. Okay, and we lose, but that's fine. You get the point. But they only lost 333 units? I thought I did better in this one. Well, whatever. You know, I tried. But, yeah, in campaign you have things to help turn the tide, which I'll show you. If you're using just zombies and a necromancer, you'll have a hard time. But that's the thing. A legendary lord or a vampire lord can do damage to enemy lords. Like, if we had a vampire lord or a legendary lord, we could have killed their lord to reduce their leadership. And then you have units like this, like cavalry. In that big blob, if we had a couple units of cavalry, we could have them hit the flanks and do lots of damage without being pinned down. Units like Graveguard have bonus versus infantry and armor, so if you have those in the blob with a bunch of zombies, they'll help do damage for them. Direwolves and Karen Race and Hex Race can also be used to flank and do damage in the rear.
All shall know me.
Oh, Vlad starts with the Graveguard with Halberd now. Yeah, Blood Knights. If you're playing as Vlad and you want to use zombies, Blood Knights are a great unit for killing infantry. They can charge directly into a unit of spearmen and destroy them for free. They'll take a couple losses, but you can heal them. And they also have the hunger, so they get healing while they're in combat.
Death.
But Helmengorst, you know, he's the zombie king, so once you get Wind of Death, or you have a vampire with Pit of Shades, you can do tons of damage to blobs of infantry and kill them very easily. Black Coach, though, absolute junk. Don't ever use this unit. It's really bad. It just takes lots of damage and then you waste spells healing it. But anyway, I don't want this video to go on for too long. Definitely tried to make it seem interesting, but the main thing is there are different ways of buffing your units, and those are the things you want to pay attention to. So overall, zombies are not the most impressive unit, but a horde of them can inspire dread in many campaigns depending on who you're playing as. Eventually you may gravitate towards other units, but summon zombies will always be useful. So like the summon zombies, you're able to shut down that lord. If you're using Vargol spam, like I do in the campaign, your lord can summon a horde of zombies and help defend a whole unit of monsters. So anyway, this has been a Warhammer guide. Thanks for watching.